Hello and happy Wednesday evening. We will get started in just a moment. We will be using foam rollers and yoga mats tonight. If you don't have a foam roller, don't worry. I will be giving modifications. And if you don't have a yoga mat, a blanket or a towel on your floor will do just fine. Or if you have carpet, that'll do just fine. It's just a little bit of cushioning and padding to give you a little extra comfort. So let's get started sitting on our mats. And have your foam roller close by. It doesn't matter if it's long or one of the long ones or one of the short ones. Both will work just fine. And we're going to start by warming up the feet. Sitting as you like. If it's uncomfortable to sit on your mat, you're more than welcome to sit on a chair, bringing one foot up and just getting into the sole of the foot, massaging it out. And we haven't done this in a couple of weeks, I think. So just a reminder that we're going to work with a general touch that's soft and then slowly dig in deeper to the muscles and little ligaments and tendons of the feet. I like to use my thumbs on the bottom of the foot. You can also pay a little special attention. There's a nice big tendon that runs from the big toe mound kind of to the heel. And so going along that line sometimes feels really good up into the arch of the foot. And when you're ready, let's floss our fingers in between our toes. So one finger in between the toes, squeeze them in there. So you're kind of creating your own personal set of, I think they're called yoga toes, but this set, you can give the toes a little wiggle, or maybe little circles, or this can be sometimes a little bit intense opening up the joints of the foot. So sometimes if you just need to be there in stillness, that's also a-okay. Good, and when you're ready, release that. And then give each toe just a little bit of traction, just gently pulling each toe out of, not out of the socket, but staying in the socket, but you're just giving each toe just a little pull. And then scissor the toes one way and then the other. Kind of working into the webbing of the toes. Good. And let's switch sides. Onto the other side and on this one as well, starting off with kind of that general massage, a gentle touch, and then as the foot starts warming up and the muscle kind of starts softening under your hands, I always think of this kind of like using plasticine or clay, right? And it starts off kind of like stiff and hard, and then as it warms up, the easier it is to manipulate and move. So it's the same with the muscles. So we start kind of by warming it up, and then we start digging into the nitty-gritty details that feel good. Or a tiny little bit painful. Sometimes massage can be a little bit painful, and we'll find that out in a moment in class. And when you feel like the bottom of that foot is doing well, we can move to flossing the fingers in between the toes. And just taking a moment here to feel those joints start opening and spreading. And we can wiggle the toes in one direction, wiggle them in the other, maybe find some circles. And again, if this is good and if this is enough, just staying with the fingers in between the toes. And remove the hand, and then give each toe just a tiny little traction. Good. And then scissoring the toes, so stretching the webbing one way and then the other. It's kind of like all of your toes are like doing little splits. Good. Give those ankles a roll out. See how those feet feel now that they've warmed up a little. Nice. Okay, let's get into some gentle stretching. So let's sit up nice and tall and crawl our fingers forward. We're not going to force this. This is our first little back of the leg opener for the day. And we're just going to let gravity take over. And let our back, our chest, our head slowly fall towards our legs, gently opening up the hamstrings. We'll be here for about a minute. And again, this is the first stretch that we're doing of the day. So it should feel good. It should feel stretchy. It shouldn't feel, oh my goodness, I'm holding my breath. I'm in so much pain, if that makes sense. And while we're here, we're actually going to start tapping into our breathing. And if you've been standing, or if you've gone for a walk today, or if you've been sitting and working and doing too many Zooms, this is the time to start letting that part of your day come to an end. And this is your opportunity, this 45-minute class, to start transitioning into like a chill, relaxed state of being. And on the exhale, slowly come out of that. Give the legs a little shake if you need. Good. Let's bring that foam roller onto the mat. And we did this last week. We're going to do it again, and just mainly because it feels so good. I'm going to hold behind my head, and my elbows are going to be a little forward. So I'm creating like a nice doming shape in my chest and a nice rounded upper back. And I'm going to roll my upper back on my roller. And do this a few times, not getting too low into the spine, but we're just going over kind of that area where the shoulder blades meet the ribs, and in between the shoulder blades and ribs and spine, there are so many muscles. And all of those muscles love to get so tight because all of those muscles also respond to our arms, our back, our shoulder placement. If we are experiencing tension, those muscles sometimes like to grip. If we're experiencing anything in the neck, those muscles will be affected. So the upper back, sometimes we forget, is a little complex in the body. That feels so nice. And then let's bring the roller to the upper back. So as kind of for ladies, it's kind of where the back bra strap is on your body. And that's kind of a nice way to think of the placement. And then from here, just gently opening up the chest, letting those elbows fall open, and see if you can just find some openness over the roller. Breathing deeply flaring that chest open. And coming back up. And just roll out the back body one more time. Coming up. Now, if you have a long roller, let's put it lengthwise on the mat. And you are going to do this. You're going to lay down, bringing the forearms together and open up. And feel the chest and the pecs gently fall open. And you're going to breathe here for, let's say, 5 big breaths and just let gravity slowly let those arms come towards the ground. If you don't have a long foam roller, do not worry. I have a variation for you. You're going to twist to one side. The bottom leg is stretched, the top leg is bent, and you're going to open up and feel one side open, and you'll be here for 3 big breaths. And then you'll come to the other side with that leg up and over and just opening up. I like to have my elbow a little bit bent and just let that chest start opening up. Ooh, this gets tight. My goodness. And if you're doing the twisting version, go to the other side if you haven't already. And if you're doing the long foam roller version, gently come out of it and slowly make your way to your mat and off of the foam roller. It's amazing how tight the pecs get, and sometimes we forget if we're slouching or hunching over the computer or slumping on the couch or, not doing the best posture while looking at the cell phone. That kind of concave action, that tightens that area, which is why when we come to do this expansion, it feels so painful, but so good. All right. We've done the back. We've done the chest. Let's do a little bit of the neck. So sitting where you feel comfortable, either with crossed legs on the heels, or if you need, you can grab a hard backed chair and sit up on a chair. Whatever feels good. And let's go into a couple of head circles, feeling the neck mobilize, taking note of what areas feel kind of like crispy and crunchy, of what areas feel like nice and stretchy. I always know that when I go to the side, it feels really good in the side of my neck. When I bring my nose towards the ceiling, it feels like it literally sounds like Rice Krispies in my neck. And let's rotate in the other direction. Working that mobility. And just see how one side feels different than the other. And it probably will, especially if you are a side sleeper that favors one side over the other. You'll feel that in the whole side of the body, most likely. All right. One of my favorites, putting one hand on the side of the body like so and matching the palms together. And then bringing the ear towards the elbow that is sticking out. Feeling a nice big stretch in the side of the neck. Playing with the jaw. See if you can release the jaw here. It's interesting because sometimes if you release the jaw, you can almost get more of a stretch. And rotate so that the chin is towards the chest. Bring the head back up. Swap sides and head goes over. And on this side again, remember to play with releasing the jaw. The jaw is an interesting place where often people like to hold tension. I am definitely guilty of that. It is my favorite place to hold tension. And it's just a habit that's hard to break, but just continuing to remind yourself, not get mad at yourself, but just say, hey, Haylee, release your jaw. Sometimes is helpful. And rotate that head towards the chest and pick it back up. Good. Let's get into the front of the hips a little. Actually, let's do our foam roller hip stretch. We'll do a nice passive one first. Another one of my favorites before we get into leg massaging, which can be kind of intense. So we're going to have our sacrum on the roller, and we're going to come back, bringing the knees into the chest, and even this, like unweighting the hips kind of like this and bringing the knees into the chest feels really nice. We're going to extend one leg and reach it down to the ground with a nice elongated back of the knee. So we're not going to bend the knee. We're going to think of straightening, lengthening through, and like almost energetically pressing through that heel. And you should start feeling the front of the hips slowly but surely say, hello, I'm here and I'm a little bit tight. And if you don't feel the stretch and you have the heel on the ground, you can always bring this top knee a little closer to you and let the hips come back up towards you a little bit. And we'll be here for about a minute, gently letting the front of this hip open up. And in this minute, we're letting gravity kind of do its job on our leg. And so you can breathe. Maybe you can even close your eyes. Check in with the jaw, make sure that is released. Check in with the hips and seeing if you are letting the hips open up or if you're kind of like gripping and guarding and protecting it. Gently letting those hips fall open. Continue to breathe. Checking in with the ribs. Making sure they're expanding on the inhale and deflating on the exhale. Take a big inhale in, and on the exhale, bend that bottom knee and bring it up to the chest. Switching sides, extending the other leg, reaching it nice and long, feeling energy out of that heel. And breathing deeply. Feeling that hips slowly start to open up, and you don't have to push this. You don't have to do anything super active. You're just letting gravity. You're just letting gravity do its job. You're letting gravity slowly let that hip open up, and you just breathe. We're here for a minute as well. And on this side, you're going to check in with your jaw. You're going to check in with your shoulders. You can close your eyes and breathe deeply and really feel those lungs like an accordion open and close. And as much as you feel the shoulders and jaw and torso start giving in and relaxing, you can let the front of the hip open up and relax. You are safe where you are. You don't need to grip it to protect it. And on the exhale, bend the knee and bring it up. Reach two legs to the ceiling and just give them a little shake out. Good. Oh, sometimes having the legs up like this with the hips supported on a roller feels really good. Placing those legs down, putting a little pressure into the feet and just sliding that roller away. Take a moment to settle. Sometimes that little bit of pressure um, can help us open up the sacrum, and we don't expect it to. Good. All right. While we are here working on those legs, let's do some massaging. We're going to do the glutes first. So we're going to come to one side and just on one glute, one butt cheek, we're just going to gently roll back and forth. And similar to how we massaged the foot, we're going to do a few rolls kind of over the whole muscle. And then we'll slowly start pinpointing specific areas. But you want to warm up and kind of wake up the whole area first before you go into, the, let's say, the glute med or something that's like really tight and angry. And now slowly start getting a little bit deeper, seeing what it feels like to roll over the muscle a little bit towards the outside of the glute. So you're kind of like outside glute hip area. How does that feel? Taking a moment to massage that out. How does it feel to massage over that sit bone area? Sometimes it's a little bit tender, especially if you've done a lot of like biking uphill or hiking uphill or stairs, anything that has that like up action targets that area real well. And you can even try stopping on a point that's a little tender and even wobbling that leg, getting into different areas as well. And just, we're going to finish up this side. So take just a couple of really broad, gentle strokes. Again, kind of to flush out the area. And then we'll switch sides. To the other side, a couple broad strokes to begin with. Just warming it up, waking it up. And when you feel ready, slowly start pinpointing more specific areas that need a little bit more attention, where you want to go a little deeper. And just find those areas. Maybe you even pause for a moment to kind of let that muscle melt around the roller, getting to the outside part, closer to the outside of the hip, maybe going over and around that sit bone area. The glutes are an interesting part of the body. They are so muscular, and there are just so many overlapping muscles that, I mean, that area of the body. There's always going to be something sore because there's so many different functions of that glute and supporting the hip, and then supporting the legs and supporting the back. And so the glutes have big responsibilities. Take a second, let that calm down. We are now going to go into the fronts of the leg. Okay, let me just adjust real quick. All right, so the fronts of the leg can be a little bit tender. So, to begin with, let's come here. Two of my thighs are on my mat or on my roller. And the nice thing about this is like a low-key core exercise because I have to support myself with my forearms and I don't want to collapse. So I do have some shoulder girdle stability happening here. I'm just going to gently roll back and forth. And remember your breathing. You can breathe without tensing your jaw. It is possible. Sometimes it's hard to remember, but it is in fact humanly possible to do that. And we're just breathing and rolling the thighs. And now you can play with turning the knees in towards each other a little bit, or turning the knees out a little bit, just getting into different areas of the thigh. And you can always take a moment to pause if you find like a good little knotted area. And if you find like an area that feels kind of intense, you can take a moment to breathe. And just in your mind's eye, close your eyes and imagine if the muscle melting around it, take it up a notch. You can also bend those legs and let the bending, so you're kind of putting pressure on the muscle while stretching it at the same time, which can feel really painful and amazing. And then big, broad strokes, nice and gentle to kind of flush it out. And gently come out of that. Take a moment to resuscitate the thighs a little bit. All right. We are going to go into the IT band area now. So, the IT band, the iliotibial band. Ilio, this is your iliacus, the hip bone. The tibia is this little knobby bone that's at the side of the knee. So the band runs from kind of that tibia in the lower leg all the way up the side of the leg, all the way up into the hip. That is a lot. And so when we're massaging, feel it on yourself right now. If you're sitting, you just have to rub the sides of your thighs, and you can kind of feel the area where the hamstrings and like the thighs kind of meet. And there's usually like a hard sort of like elasticity kind of sensation. That's the iliotibial band. So when we're working that area, I don't love going directly on the band, but if you go a little in the front of it or a little behind it, sometimes we can get a little deeper into that area. So be prepared. This one will feel uncomfortable, and we're going to do it on both sides, and then it'll be over, and then we don't have to do it anymore. But just giving you a warning that this one can feel a little intense sometimes. So we come onto the side, and we're just going to gently roll up and down the IT band. And then when you're ready, you can play with transferring the weight, rolling a little forward, and playing with kind of like IT band outer part of thigh, or rolling a little back and playing with IT band outer part of hamstring. And we'll be here for a little while, and it's a little bit painful. And this is a really great one to close the eyes, tap into the breath, remind yourself that you can breathe without clenching the jaw. Taking moments to pause and really in the mind's eye, imagining that the muscle is melting around and over the foam roller. This is one where I can find myself tensing a little bit to protect my muscles. Because of course, your body wants to protect itself. You're like, ouch, that hurts. I want to tense up and protect you. So just being aware of that as well, and that response, and just continually to tell yourself that it is okay. You are inflicting this pain on yourself because it'll make you feel better tomorrow morning, or even tonight after class. And when you're ready, come out of it. Maybe give that side a little rub down. And let's switch sides. And again, on this one, you can go over the IT band gently just a couple of times, and then when you're ready, 1 second. Oh, pardon me. Yes. You can start going a little bit rolling towards the front, so you're getting kind of like IT band outer part of thigh, or you can roll a little back and get IT band outer part of hamstring. And I'm going to remind myself that I am breathing deeply, that I can take moments to pause and just feel the muscle, the fascia, everything just spill around and release all over that foam roller. And I can do that all while breathing. I can also do that all while not holding tension in my jaw. Who would have thought? I'm just going to keep reminding you and myself. Good. And slowly get out of that side and give it a little rub down as well. Let's bring the legs nice and wide. Let's put our rollers in front of us because we can. And just roll forward. And we'll be here for about a minute, opening up the inner thighs. And let's see if we can inhale in. And on the exhale, release the jaw, release the hips, and see if we can go just a millimeter deeper into our stretch. And who knows, maybe releasing a different part of the body will help release the hips. So maybe thinking about unclenching the stomach muscles, maybe letting the head drop down to the floor. Take a big inhale in, and on that exhale, roll the roller back up towards you. Place it to the side. Gently close those legs. Give it a little shake out. Good. Let's do a little stretching for our rotators, our glutes. And then we'll probably go into a little twisting and then a little relaxing. So we're on our backs. Let's create a 4 shape by crossing one leg over the other, grabbing the behind our hamstring, making sure that top foot is flexed so our toes are facing our ceiling. And take a moment here to open up those hips that we massaged so nicely a couple minutes ago. I'm very thankful for all of you joining class today. Some of these things, like rolling the sides of the legs out, they're a little bit painful, and so unless I have somebody to hold me accountable, I'll never do them. So thank you for being present. Because of you, I am taking care of my body. And hopefully because of me, you're taking care of yours. It's a good relationship to have. And on your next exhale, lower that leg and let's switch sides. Remembering that that top foot is flexed, holding behind the hamstring, opening up that thigh, and just letting it all fall open. And while you're here, you can let the jaw relax. You can feel that hip open. It feels so nice. Your shoulders are not near your ear. Your shoulders are going down towards the ground. Maybe you even close your eyes. And on your next exhale, lower that foot down, lower the other leg down. Give it a little shake up if you need. Good. Let's have the feet on the ground. And before we go into our final relaxation, just let me adjust myself real quick so I don't ram into my couch. Let's have the feet on the ground and the hands out towards the side so you kind of look like a big human-shaped T in a way. And let's let the knees come to one side. And then on a nice big exhale, bring the knees up. Inhale, let the knees drop to the other side. Exhale those knees up. Inhale to drop. Exhale to bring them up. Inhale to drop. Exhale to bring them up. Inhale to drop. Exhale to bring them up. One more time. Inhale to drop. Exhale to bring them up. Keeping the feet on the floor. Placing the hands on the tops of the thighs. Take a big inhale in. And on the exhale, press those thighs away. Seeing if you can create more space in your lower back. Inhale, release. One more time. Exhale to press. Inhale, release. Hands are clasped behind the head. And exhale, giving the head a little pull, feeling a little bit of traction in the top of the back. And inhale, release. And exhale, finding that traction. Inhale, release. If you have a short foam roller, I want you to come to the mat with the legs a little wide and the palms facing up. The eyes are closed. If you have a long foam roller, similar to the opening of the pec exercise we did, you want to lay your spine on your mat so that your tail and your head is supported. Your knees are going to be bent. Your feet are wide and your knees are going to knock together. And your hands are just going to be by the side to support you. And you can close your eyes here. And no matter what position you're in, your eyes are closed, your palms are facing the ceiling. Take a big inhale in. And on the exhale, let that air release. Let the jaw release. The shoulders, the ribs, the hips, the knees, the ankles, the feet. Take a big inhale in. Feeling the backs of the ribs expanding on the floor. And as you exhale, feeling the ground supporting your back. Take an inhale in. And on the exhale, feel the ground supporting your hips and glutes. Take an inhale in. And on the exhale, feel the roller or the ground supporting the back of your head. And without me talking, stay here and breathe and sense and feel the body sinking into the ground and sinking into relaxation. And only when you are ready will you gently and slowly get out of this. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. For those of you that continue to donate, thank you so much. And for those of you that continue to show up, thank you so much. This class is here because of you. Thank you. Have a good night. And I hope to see you on Friday morning for Pilates.